Okay, surrendering. Surrendering is versus from trying to trusting. Now, this is something that's really pretty key in our relationship with Christ because so often we hold invisible strings. I know for myself, sometimes I will pray, and if it doesn't happen fast enough, I want it to happen faster. So it's like, hey, in your timing. Oh, but then I'm like holding on to a string, like, I gave it to God, and oftentimes I'll literally say, oh, don't worry, I gave it to God, but then I'm like, but I want it back. It's under my control now. And this is what we do as human beings when we, at times, it's amazing. I'm very guilty of this at times, but I still got a string. Have you noticed that you might have a couple strings as human beings to a couple things that you want to happen in His time, or you might say in His time, in your timing, God? But I still got a string, and I'm sure you can't see it. When we inherently know He knows that there's a string, and it's not bad. It's not like shame, shame, shame. It's just something to look at. I know I've still got some strings. It might be toward when things happen. So where are some of your strings in what areas for the things that you gave to God? I mean, I am like a child sometimes and I hand over the toy, but I want it back. And so, where are the toys that you want back? And because the scripture says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways, submit to Him, and He will make your path straight. Now, I can tell you that I like to rush things at times. And then there's a saying, God's never in a hurry. And all the things that happened in my life, I'm so glad that some of the things didn't happen. Or they did happen and they happened at the perfect time. But I still hold a string sometimes. I still hold a little string, even though He's proven to me over and over again that I don't need to hold the string, but I still hold strings. And how do we actually know if we actually gave it to Him? So there's divine timing is not actual clock time. But you're saying that the clock that He doesn't operate by a regular clock? No, He's the creator of the clock. He did definitely not. There's His timing and there's clock timing. So many strings I have are attached to clock timing. God's process doesn't run on your watch. Growth happens by law, not convenience. And when I say law, what I mean is design law, the laws of reality. What a gift it is that God is a God of reality, not of like punishment and ridicule, but a God of reality. Is like He has His timing. Trust it. I remember actually planting some seeds once, and in a garden, and I remember digging them up and seeing how they're doing. I actually did that. I was like, "Wow, let's see how the seeds are doing. Just go dig them up there." I'm like, "Oh, look, they're sprouting." I killed them all. So essentially, that's what I do in my life sometimes. And and I'm definitely not a farmer. A true farmer doesn't dig up the seeds to check. He trusts. He made everything beautiful in its time. Are you watching the clock or are you trusting the gardener? Well, I was trusting the gardener and I dug him up instead of actually, um, actually, sorry. He's the gardener in this metaphor, and I was watching the clock, and I tried to become the gardener. Even worse, I tried to become the gardener. So, where are we trying to become the gardener when really He's the gardener? He's got it. He's not only the gardener, He's the soil too. He's literally created the soil. Peace does not equal circumstantial calm. So I used to equate being peaceful means all the circumstances are perfect. So that means that we are basically dependent upon circumstances. When we have the peace of God in our hearts, what does that do for us and our circumstances? It allows us to be peaceful even though there are challenging circumstances. It doesn't mean outer ease. I told you these things so that in me you may have peace. In this world you will have trouble, but take heart, I have overcome the world. Now, I used to think that when I come to Christ, everything will be peaceful. Yes, in my heart, if I'm in, but it doesn't mean the rest of the world will be peaceful. And I was blinded by that. Blinded by, hey, if I just come to Christ, the world will be peaceful. Everything will be peaceful. All the circumstances will work out. All the seeds will sprout. No, no, no. It's peace in the presence of alignment of reality, not in the absence of pressure. So how do you relate to pressure? Is the pressure around us stealing your peace, or is it actually proving it? I can tell you that so often I'm guilty of when there's pressure, I can see how little peace I have and faith I have at times. And often, sometimes when there's a lot of pressure, I'm calm as a cucumber. I'm like, well, that's because of God. It depends on how much I can lean on Him. Oftentimes, I'll be impatient, but that's just me being afraid. What if He doesn't come through? What if He doesn't know? Maybe I'll dig up the seed. Let's go dig up that seed. Maybe I can be the gardener, a better gardener to Him. So I try and dig up the seed and take control again. God's timing, God's timing. But those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall not be run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. I'm pretty much a turkey. So essentially, we oftentimes I'm impatient, but that's just my fears. What is your relationship to impatience? Is it impatience, or is it actually just being afraid, and maybe you cast out that string because of fear? I know what I'm trying to protect is I'm trying to protect myself. So there's pressure that produces. So you're saying that actually pressure actually produces character at times? It's actually the opposite. It's actually, yeah. God grows through tension, not escape. I know for myself that I often want to escape the tension instead of actually growing through it. He's here to grow our characters. Just like when we train in the gym, muscles tear, they rest, and they grow. Well, God could be using the pressure to help you become stronger in character. Consider it pure joy when you face trials because you know the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let the perseverance finish its work so that you may mature and complete, not lacking anything. God loves us so much, He's building our character. And so it'd be like going to the gym and being like, and the trainer's like, "You're gonna make you strong, and you got to use this weight." And you're like, "Nope, nope, nope. I'm gonna lift the 1 pound weights." So we build our strength through pressure, and then we get increased capacity. So what is God building your capacity for? You know, He says that like a lamp. It's not a spotlight. He's not a spotlight in front of us. You can't see all the whole future, but you can see the lamp. You can see the next step, and He'll never have us take a step before we're ready. But He's stretching us so we can increase our capacity. A new wine requires a stretched wineskin. No one pours new wine into old wineskins. New wine must be poured into new wineskins. So He's making us new again. Where are you praying for more while refusing to stretch? I know for myself, I pray for more blessings, more this. Yet there are areas in my life where I refuse to stretch, and it's time and refuse. And part of stretching is not casting a string out. So, but what you don't know about me is I kept rescuing what God was removing. So oftentimes especially before I was saved, was that I kept holding on to things and rescuing it when really God was trying to remove it out of my life. He removes things, He prunes, He prunes, He prunes. And I'm like, no, don't prune that, don't prune that. I'm like, well, it's dead, prune it. No, I don't want to. Okay, because He's a God of liberty, right? Are you so foolish after beginning by means of the Spirit? Are you now trying to finish by means of the flesh? And often I do that. I want to finish by means of the flesh. I'm fast from managing outcomes, but I trust His removal process. He knows where to prune. And sometimes that prune is so painful. It might even be pruning certain things you love, so that we love so much. He prunes that too, or that we're attached to, because ultimately He is our priority. So struggle is evidence of peace. Pressure doesn't cancel peace, it proves it. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and minds in Jesus Christ. So this is an anchor from Dan Sullivan. Clarity before progress. Clarity before progress. So often that's a really great coach out there in business, and he says, clarity before progress. So this is about us being clear about our relationship with God and trust and looking at the areas it's time to prune and having Him prune and trusting He can see the areas that it's time to prune before we can even as well. What if the pressure is guarding your growth? So we want to default to peace under the fire. I'm not saying like the new age picture to do that. I'm saying actually defaulting to peace. Build nervous system's response that choose trust. So we want our nervous system to choose trust. We want to inhale deeply, speak trust aloud to Him, assume the posture of surrender, and literally keep our head in the Word. You will keep it perfect in perfect peace to those minds are steadfast because they trust you. So how do we build a mindset that relies on Him? And when the fire hits, I've talked to people where they go through challenging times, and I'm so grateful because they sometimes will come up and say, I just was tempted by this, and they first thing they do is pray. It's like a muscle. It's muscle memory. So when things get challenging, is the first area you go to Him. And if it is, that's amazing. Let's keep doing that because we've got to practice surrendering. We check in. Am I holding it or is God holding it? Am I holding it or am I handing it to God? What areas in your life can you hand to God? Be still before the Lord and wait patiently for Him. Do not fret when people succeed in their ways. Sometimes I see other people succeeding, and I'm like, wow, I, I get impatient. But then I hear him comparing to others when I only have one audience member, and the audience member is God. That's it. I have an audience of one. So that I leave with that thought is where are there any strings in our lives? And it's time we try to let go and give it to God.